Pax River, Greenbelt Training, HM15. Everybody that came here to see my retirement ceremony, I appreciate it very much. I've served with all of you at some point in my career. The hangar looks great. Thank you very much to all the people that set it up. I really appreciate it. And to those that volunteered to be in this ceremony, I know it's a lot of preparations. And to those that were voluntold, thank you. And I wanted to make special mention of my coordinator, Warrant Officer Toomer, and also my master ceremonies, Lieutenant Davis. Thank you both so much. First, I thought I could just do it on my own. That wasn't going to happen. So they stepped up, and it was still a lot of work, even though they were helping. And thank you. For those still undecided, I wasn't going to have a retirement ceremony at first, but I think I made the right decision. You probably won't regret having one, but you might regret not having one someday if you don't do it. So just think about it before you say, I'm not going to do one. And by the way, Warrant Officer Toomer and Lieutenant Davis both said that they enjoyed doing this so much that they can't wait to do another one. So get them while it's fresh in their mind. It might be is. Hopefully not, though. To our Chaplain Butler, thank you so much for coming. Without you here, it wouldn't be the same to provide, the spiritual foundation for the ceremony. Thanks again. To our CO, Commander Gendron. Sir, it's been a pleasure serving with you, not only once but twice, HM15 and now here. I only wish I could have served with you a little bit longer the second time, but it's been definitely the highlight of my career. Thank you, sir. And also Captain Bard as well. Again, thank you. It was a pleasure serving you also, sir. I never served for 2 COs twice in a row, so. But you both are fine naval officers and among the best. Thank you. The ceremony, I guess, I realize it's supposed to be all about me, but I do have to mention George, and I'm not going to talk as long as George, so don't worry. But George, thank you very much for all the kind words. That's probably the best retirement speech I've ever heard in my whole career. We actually haven't worked together all that long, considering both of our careers span, 60 years almost. And but the past 4 years, like you said, we spoke like almost on a daily basis there for about 2 years. And George, but the other thing is that George's personality can be described in a few different ways, depending on who you talk to. But for some reason, me and George, we just kind of hit it off, I don't know what it was. I'm a good listener. I guess that probably helped. But anyway, but I think my description is most accurate. George, as you said, he's a retired Master Chief Petty Officer. Served 30 years, I think. 26. He was an AD, power plant maintenance technician. And I think he joined back when there was still differentiation between jets and radial engines. So it's been a while. He grew up in Sunnyside, Queens, correct? And which, I think it's a tropical paradise there, is it, George? I actually heard it referred to recently as, and I'm not joking, Mayberry near Midtown. Is that right? Okay. I'm only guessing it was probably a little more tough when George was there, so, you know, gentrification, it happens. But anyway, like George said, he's our manpower manager, not just for HM 12, HM 14, or HM 15, but for the entire wing. He is actually the consistency when it comes to managing 14 squadrons consisting of over 4,000 plus sailors. It's a huge job, especially in today's time, you know, when there's not enough people and increased requirements for deployments and whatnot. George truly cares about his sailors, his Navy and his country. He's the one that has to make the tough calls when it comes to, you know, deciding which squadron is going to get the bodies that they need and which squadrons to pull the people from to fill the unfilled billets at the next deployer. When it first became apparent that I was going to be retired at the end of the year, he was actually one of the ones, people I talked to about it. And he said in his New York accent, "You better be having a retirement ceremony." At the time, I was like, you know what, thanks, but I probably won't. But if I did, would he be my guest speaker? Without any hesitation, he said, absolutely. But, you know, so about a month went by, kind of, you know, I was on the fence whether or not to do one of these. And so I talked to him. After I decided, yes, I'm going to go ahead and do the ceremony, I called him up. I was like, hey, are you still willing to be my guest speaker? He goes, this is what he said. He goes, I thought you were kidding. I think he thought I was wanted to, you know, pick like a retired or, you know, active duty officer or something like that. So I think he was really actually honored that I chose him. But as you saw this morning, that's why I chose him, because that's who George is. But George, I admire you, I respect you, and I thank you, and God bless you. Well, it's been 27 years, definitely flew by. I'll go ahead and thank my family now. To my mother, Ann, sitting in the front row. She's been there with me from day one, obviously, literally. So my mother is no stranger to the Navy herself. Her dad served in the Navy all throughout World War II, like from start to finish. He was on destroyers, he was a chief fire controller. He actually went to boot camp right here on this base in 1939, so almost 80 years ago. I still remember the day she went down to the med station with me in Montgomery, Alabama, in June of 1990. I'll admit I was a little scared. You know, I'd never, you know, been to boot camp. Didn't know what to expect. But seeing as that I'd already been out of high school for a couple of years, and I was still living at her house, you know, she was there behind me all the way to make sure I got on that bus to the airport. So she attended my boot camp at graduation in San Diego, my commissioning ceremony in Pensacola, and now my retirement ceremony here. So thank you, Mom, for being there throughout my career. To my dad and Kay, they could not be here this morning, but I do appreciate the things that they do for me and for my family, children. Sorry they couldn't make it, but we'll make it up to you. You know, we'll get together afterwards. To my wife, Linda, even though we haven't been together but just a few short years, well, we're getting ready to have our 5th year anniversary this month. I feel like you've already provided me with a lifetime's worth of love and support. My wife is a true patriot. She loves her country. She always goes the extra mile when it comes to making others happy, feel safe and protected. During the holidays, she would routinely make all these baked goods for me to bring to work. she would make probably like a dozen trays, and I'm like carrying to work in my car, and they're all like wrapped up in bows and all this stuff. To be honest, it was a little embarrassing, but but the troops, they definitely enjoyed it. One of which is sitting right here in front of me. She made these pumpkin bars one time. I think it was around Thanksgiving, and each one of these things probably had like 3 days worth of carbs. And my Mo, he grabbed a couple, and Commander Saki here, he ate like 2 or 3 of these things right before lunch. I think it was a potluck too, but I mean, it was funny because he, like 1 o'clock, he was done. I mean, he couldn't even keep his eyes open. But we still talk about that. It's funny. I think he wants some more, so maybe we can make you some. But anyway, to Linda, the support you've given me and the wisdom you've imparted got me through some of the toughest times of my life. And aside from the Father, Son, or Holy Ghost, I mean, she thinks I'm the greatest man to ever walk the face of the earth. So I know that's not true, but it's still a good feeling. It's nice when your wife feels that way. And I'm definitely looking to the next chapter. To my children, these young children, someone serving in the military, a lot of times. Well, actually, you never had a choice. You just kind of went where the Navy took us, so that's just the way it is. I like to think that you got to experience a variety up front, in your younger years, But in the latter years of my career, I kind of decided to make more of a conscious decision to try to, give you a more stable life. So many would probably say that that's to the detriment of my own career, but I don't know if it worked or not. I'd like to think it did. But I do want you to know I'm very proud of each one of you, and you guys can do whatever you want, and as long as you put your mind to it. To the sailors remaining on active duty, it has really been my distinct pleasure to serve alongside each and every one of you over these years. What you do is vitally important to the security of our nation. Without each of you, the aircraft would not fly, the ships would not sail, and our presence would not be known around the globe. I truly believe that a well-outfitted and trained military is an effective deterrent to war. And all of you here are part of this effort. But whether or not you decide to make the Navy a career, because I know a lot of people don't, you can already be proud of what you've accomplished just by being here. Before I close, I did want to recite a short excerpt from a speech given to a class of midshipmen at the Naval Academy back in 1963. I know a lot of you probably heard this already, but in case you haven't, it was, I know since it was given to midshipmen, but it applies equally to everyone, in the uniform. This speech was given by President John F. Kennedy, himself a former sailor. Quote, "I want to express our strong hope that all of you who have come to the Academy as plebes will stay with the Navy. I can think of no more rewarding a career. You will have a chance in the next 10, 20, and 30 years to serve the cause of freedom in your country all over the globe, to hold positions of the highest responsibility. Recognize that upon your good judgment, in many cases, rests not only the well-being of the men with whom you serve, but also, in a very real sense, the security of your country. I can imagine no more rewarding career. And any man who may be asked in this century what he did to make his life worthwhile, I think can respond with a great deal of pride and satisfaction. I've served in the United States Navy." That applies to all of you here. So no matter what you're doing, on duty, off duty, remember you are what you represent. Remember that United States Navy sailor and be proud. Thank you.
Flag detail, post. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony you are about to witness honors our nation's most cherished symbol of freedom, the Stars and Stripes. The flag will ceremoniously be passed from one sailor to the next in the honor guard formation. Chief Petty Officer Laws will now read Old Glory.
I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings, I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over great institutions of learning. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am arrogant. I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher, and my colors a little truer. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshipped and I am saluted. I am respected. I am revered. I am loved and I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forts, Anzio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, Midway, Guadalcanal, Okinawa, Korea, Vietnam, the Tonkin Gulf, the Persian Gulf, Bosnia, Afghanistan, Iraq, and a score of other places long forgotten by all, but those who were there with me. I was there. After the attack on September 11, I quickly restood my ground on top of the rubble of the World Trade Center and reestablished my position, draped over the smoking ruins of the Pentagon. I lead my troops. I follow them. I watch over them. They love me. I was on a small hill on Iwo Jima. I was dirty, battle-worn, and tired, but my sailors and Marines cheered me, and I was proud. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on in the streets of countries that I have helped set free. It does not hurt, for I am invincible. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on in the streets of my own country, and when it is by those with whom I have served in battle, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the bonds of earth, and from my vantage point on the moon, I stand watch over the uncharted new frontiers of space. I have been a silent witness to all of America's finest hours, but my finest hour comes when I am torn into strips to be used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the field of battle, or when I fly at half-mast to honor my sailors and Marines, and when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the graveside of her fallen son or daughter. I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave. Dear God, long may I wave.
Petty Officer Garling will now read the watch.
Aye, mates. For 27 years, this sailor stood the watch. While some of us were in our bunks at night, this sailor stood the watch. While some of us were in school learning our trade, this sailor stood the watch. And yes, even before some of us were born, this sailor stood the watch. As our families watched the storm clouds of war brewing on the horizons of history, this sailor stood the watch. He stood the watch for 27 years. He stood the watch so that we, our families, and our fellow countrymen could sleep soundly in safety each and every night, knowing that a sailor stood the watch. Today we are here to say, shipmate, the watch stands relieved, relieved by those you have trained, guided, and led. Lieutenant Commander Jackson, you stand relieved. We have the watch. Sir, I have the watch.
Sir, I have the watch.
Sir, stand up and relieved. I had the watch.
Boatswain, stand by to pipe the side. This order has been passed on naval ships from early 1500s through today. Spanish, French, Dutch, English. Yes, every navy in the world has used the boatswain's call and side boys to bring aboard or send ashore its officers and visiting dignitaries. The boatswain would pipe the side as the side boys lay on or lay off the lines, used to raise or lower the boarding platform. This was done so that officers and visiting dignitaries would not have to climb aboard using the ratlines that the crew used. The ship's master or captain would also extend this privilege and honor to port officials to ensure a good berth for his ship while in port. It was not uncommon for the commanding officer of a naval ship of the line to order up the jolly boat, 8 strong backs to man the oars, along with a boatswain and side boys to send an old shipmate ashore to his retirement home. Ashore, never to sail a naval ship again. All hands on deck was passed. The crew fell in at parade rest for muster. The commanding officer would make a speech telling about the retiree's service, the great battles fought upon the open seas, the victories, the storms weathered, voyages to strange and distant lands, places visited that others can only dream about. He would also speak of shipmates left behind. The boatswain would stand tall, the side boys and the crew were called to attention, and then the retiree would step to the quarterdeck, salute the commanding officer, and request permission to go ashore. Permission granted, the retiree would step onto the platform and salute the flag he served. And then the retiree would be seated in the stern seats of the jolly boat, going ashore. As the side boys lowered away the jolly boat to the boatswain's call, the ship's gunner would fire a final salute from the ship's main battery. And so today, we heave to, we stop all engines, we lay about smartly, drop anchor, and stand by to pay honor to one of our shipmates, a shipmate going ashore, to honor those years served, the guidance, the leadership, the expertise, and above all, the friendship that the shipmate has given these past 27 years. Boatswain, stand by to pipe the side. Shipmate going ashore. Will the guests please rise for departure honors? As Lieutenant Commander Jackson steps out of his active duty role, he enters a new community, that of the retired. Lieutenant Commander Jackson will now request permission to go ashore. With permission granted, Lieutenant Commander Jackson, United States Navy, retired, departing. It has become customary following a retirement for the family to be piped ashore, honoring them for their contribution to his career. Navy family, departing. Chaplain will now read the benediction.
So when a chaplain is invited to a retirement ceremony, we read the bio of the retirees so that the opening prayer can be a thanksgiving for what they have done over their service. But a benediction is something very different. A benediction is our hope for what is yet to come. And in the church, a benediction is not an ending. It is ascending. It closes a service, but it doesn't end anything. Lieutenant Commander Jackson, you are being sent forth from this place. So receive your benediction, and may we all hear these words. May we go forward from this place to love and serve. May we return no one evil for evil. May we help one another, honor one another, serve one another, and love one another. Now may God go before you to guide you. May God be around you to protect you. And may God dwell within you to keep you strong in all of your days. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes this morning's ceremony. On behalf of Lieutenant Commander Jackson and his family, thank you for taking part in this time-honored tradition. You are cordially invited to the reception which is being held at the Breezy Point Officers Club immediately following.
Lieutenant Commander Jackson, what's up, baby? Wish you the best, man. Love you, boy.